Hey,
Yes, sir.
we out here back in the yard.
In the backyard there.
It's for episode 24. It's Francois.
It's your boy Saint Dior.
And we talking once again.
Always.
Always.
We talking about, man?
Joe, man. Joe Budden.
Our boy.
Yeah, he's been running into some issues lately. It's a couple of things. I said in the group chat earlier, I think we kind of watching, we're beholding the Joe Budden downfall. It may not be as fast as that, but it is a result of things that's been happening recently. I guess the first one would be with his former co-hosts, Maul and Rory.
Yeah.
That was kind of controversial. Not kind of, it was very controversial because of how surprising it is. I guess I'll talk about it a little bit first. No, you could speak about it because you've witnessed the pod longer than I have.
Well, I've been I wouldn't say from day one. I went back and I listened to the episodes. So I've been a supporter from time. Started off with Joe, Marissa, Peter Rosenberg is there for a bit, and then Rory came around, and then Joe fired Marissa. His reasonings were Marissa was getting too close. Her interpersonal, she was having personal issues that was coming into the pod. That's what he said.
Right, he said she couldn't separate her professional put on from her personal life.
Yeah. And that's what he said. So, but he fired her via text, which is like the first time I was like, whoa. But it was called like I'll name this podcast later, and then after a while, Maul came around. I think Maul said episode 17 or so.
77, I think.
70? 70 or
yeah.
Or 70?
Yeah.
Yeah, 70. Yeah, around 70.
Yeah.
And I know it changed to the Joe Budden podcast, and then it changed sometime later to the Joe Budden podcast with Rory and Maul. I never knew that they didn't speak about it, so I never knew what their contract is, if they were working for him or if it was a paid partnership. And we come to find out that it was a paid partnership.
Yeah, a percentage-based contract is what they signed, apparently.
Which means that they don't work for him, they work with him. But knowing how Joe is, you could tell that he likes to be in control. You know, he got a little bit of, the podcast stopped popping more because of the dynamic that him, Maul, and Rory had.
Yeah.
And it's because Joe would say something wild, and Roy would give his perspective, and Maul would give his perspective. It was a yes man type of situation.
Yeah, it's three different opposing views
exactly.
as opposed to one streamline.
Exactly.
Right.
Parks joined too, and I like Parks' opinion too because he's like the most, in my opinion, Parks is the most level-headed person on the podcast. People like to say Parks is the yes man, but no, I think Parks just is a level-headed person. They record inside this guy's house.
Okay.
So they've been recording inside this guy's house. He engineers the wire. So it's like after seeing that happen, and then people have been saying because I read comments and they see certain videos and people are saying for a while that there's some tension and whatnot, and I was trying to figure out, me being a listener and how we use it just to listen to what we're working or something like that. I just go for jokes.
You mean the couple episodes leading before?
Apparently, even before that.
Oh.
Apparently, yeah. Like if I was to go and listen back, I'm sure I could find it. But
so
apparently, it's been in tension for a while, and it makes sense.
How many episodes would you say before their initial fall off?
People said that people say the podcast have been trash since around the Spotify deal.
All right.
And I could see why they say that because around the time of the Spotify deal is when Rory and Maul said that's when they had a little issue. Yeah. And they spoke about them having like an argument in like a parking lot somewhere or something.
Right.
And it was about something, but they didn't say what it was. But come to find out, it's about how Joe treats them when it comes to not friendship but business. So, and with the Spotify deal is that basically they didn't get the numbers, the numbers that it's supposed to be.
The Spotify numbers.
Yeah, the Spotify numbers.
All right.
But they just went. They want to build a brand, so they rolled with it.
Yeah.
And apparently they didn't know about the Cash App deal at all. I mean, the Patreon deal at all. They found out when Joe said it on
the show. They found out. I was gonna say the same time we did, but obviously it's not a live show, so they have to record it. But I mean, they still found out on the show live while live recording, which is terrible.
Which is horrible, especially if it's a partnership.
It's not even only a partnership, especially if it's a percentage-based partnership.
Which means that when the Spotify deal came, I ain't saying this didn't happen, but their pay should not have been the same. Anytime they get a deal, their pay shouldn't be the same, based on the alleged contract that they have, correct?
Right. And I think what people were trying to figure out was the deal related to the Joe Budden pod specifically, or like the network? Because I mean, I could only assume that they said that based Rory and Maul did not they didn't sign a contract with the network. They just I mean, not at that point. They just signed with the show.
Yeah, because the network didn't exist yet.
Right. So that was one of the many speculations.
So after seeing that, then Joe went ahead and he got 2 more podcasts on his network. See, the thing is, and Girl I Guess. Yes. To attempt to add diversity to the network, because it's just 3 dudes talking on his own,
right?
4 dudes talking on his own, and so we did that, which led to another thing that we're gonna get into with the See the Thing Is podcast. But it's just see from, I'd say around 2019. Around 2019 is when I'd say people started saying he falling off, or the party ain't as hype no more, and they sense tension and whatnot.
Right.
And you could tell that how certain things were answered and certain things were said on the pod. You could tell that there was some backstory to it that we just don't get.
Yeah.
So they're putting on the presence for pod's sake. Don't steal a name, for pod's sake. That's a dope name. I can sue the pines off you.
that is a good name. That is a good name. They and that I kudos to them for trying to keep all of that off of the show. Yes. Because I watched the live from Joe, and he's like, he wished all of this could have been done in private, which I guess anybody wishes. Especially if you're dealing with something like that. But
because it affects business, though.
It affects the business, but I mean, then again, on the other foot, I mean, that he said that in hindsight, this is after everything. But how he fired Rory on the show.
Yeah, I feel like Joe. I'm a fan of you, but that's wild, dog. I'm sorry. I can't see myself. Unless this person did something so egregious, like assault, any type of assault, big steal, stealing, like small thing like put you on blast, big stealing, something that's extremely detrimental to what we have built, and I've treated you, or we've been doing so well together. Yeah. Then I can't see myself just firing someone on air. I can't so live way. Yeah, that's a very bold thing to do, and it seems like all of this is, we've watched. Me and you have watched the response from Rory and Mauls. Yes. I'll name this response later. A great name. Awesome, a great name for it. Yes. And. Come to find out that a lot of where this tension came from was just accounting. It seems so simple, eh? Very simple. I mean, if like they said, if we keep bringing this up, percentage-based contract. Yeah, not employees, not on a salary. Yeah. So I don't even know if he can fire Rory actually. Well, I mean, we don't know the contract, but. Yeah. I mean, you have to assume, because he owns everything as the owner. He should be able to do what he wants.
I mean, like you said, contract. We don't know the specifics of the contract, but if these guys are supposed to be getting a piece of whatever the percentages that you bring in,
Yeah.
then they should be at least privy to the proper accounting.
I agree.
Maybe not like the full,
Yeah, the books.
the full book,
The whole book.
but the whole book, yeah, exactly. But not like what they say, they will send Excel,
sheet,
just
text, and email.
not even like a read-only Excel, some write. Some edit read only, some edit Excel that anybody could put together, and anybody could punch numbers into.
So what? I listened to the latest Joe Budden podcast, right?
Yeah.
This was when he apologized, not to cut forward because I'm just aside, but
Yeah.
he apologized to them, and then he said that he talked to his accountant friend, he talked to many accountant friends, he talked to a bunch of people, and apparently accounting is sent through Excel sheets. Apparently he said what he sent is like the norm. So that threw me for a loop. Now I'm not an accountant. I've never looked at any books. I've never seen any books. So I'm no expert here. But there's something weird there. Because if he sent them that, and he said that's what his accountants and his whatever financial company sent, that's the standard.
Yeah.
And then Rory and Maul received it, and they took it to their accountants or whatever, and they're like, "Wait, what the hell is this?" Then something's off there.
Something's definitely off. That's curious. But whatever it was,
it was not enough.
It wasn't enough for them. It wasn't enough for them to be satisfied, and Joe was kind of like giving Rory I guess lackadaisical responses or like
shitting on him kinda.
Yeah, you have a calculator, right? Just look at your contract, get your calculator, bam, that's what you earn.
Yeah, if you're tripping out, audit me. That's a wild thing to say to your friend, babe.
Yeah.
That's a wild thing to say to your friend, Andrew.
Yeah, and I can't even imagine Rory was coming at him
Never.
super sideways, trying bringing this super energy for you to be to even suspect
that.
Oh, these guys, yeah, they're trying to send the lawyers for me. I don't think it couldn't have been that serious from their side. It didn't even seem that way.
Because from what I gathered from after, because I follow Rory, I support Rory. Academics need to chill out and diss my fucking boys. But
yeah,
Rory and Rory's character, even though that we get into that whole situation with him and that later. But what I gather from Rory's character is that I think he kind of looks up to Joe. Rory is around our age, babe, and that would be his OG. So I can see Rory asking him questions. I can't see Rory pulling up on Joe with that type of energy. I can see Joe pulling up on Rory, responding cursing him out and well, no, you can't see this. You work for me type vibe. I can see that happening based off of what Joe is showing us from his character. Now I don't know Rory behind the scenes. Rory could be the worst type of nigga. I don't know, but based on it, but if Maul sticking with him, and Maul is all about character, loyalty, truth. If Maul is respect,
yeah,
put some respect on their name.
Yeah.
If Maul is sticking by Rory like this, it has to be something though.
Yeah, I agree.
I would see him sticking by Joe.
And Joe did say that he was you took Rory's side during this whole thing, but there has, like you said, there has to be something to it because I don't know, like I said, I don't know their situation as well as you, but weren't Joe and Maul associated before they even got to know Rory? They used to live together.
They used to live together. Even on the podcast, Maul would it would be it was a time where I noticed that Maul used to take Joe's side, not just take his side, but he'd be more on the side of Joe. And then it went to him and Rory, and then I noticed Joe start saying, "Yo," that's when he come up with the Mixie Boy. He started saying, "Oh, y'all was hang out without me and stuff like that." And that's when I first internalized it. Hey, maybe that's happening for a reason. The fact that Joe didn't even know Rory was there when his kid was born. A lot goes into it, and I mean he apologized about all that, but like you say, it's hindsight.
Yeah, I mean at least he is responsible enough to come back afterwards and apologize and admit where he did wrong. You know, you got to give him some credit there for that.
Of course.
Because a lot of people stick to their guns and just be...
Double down.
Just double down and just be terrible about it.
Because you have to see it's taken away from... He losing money.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. The breakup is costing the pod. You could put Ice and Ish there, who was cool. Like, I mess with them.
Yeah.
I still listen to the podcast. I still
Yeah.
support it. But I've been seeing, and you even told me about this, and you don't even touch like social media and Twitter like that.
Yeah.
And I haven't been on it much. But when this is happening, yo. But when it was happening,
yeah.
Don't worry about this, guys. Nothing. When it was happening, I started seeing so much people turn and like be like, and even because I follow the Joe Budden podcast meme page, because his posts a bunch of funny stuff. Right?
Yeah.
And then they have Big Pump Killer, the dude who's we have like 35 disses out for the Joe Budden podcast.
Damn.
It'd be funny. It ran out, but he could actually rap, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
And the latest one he put up is pretty profound, actually. I only listened to a little bit of it, so don't take my full word on it. But he was speaking some facts. But he's be dissing them and whatnot. But people started saying, but if Rory and Maul go, I'm done with the podcast. I've seen a lot of people say that.
Yeah, so I mean that should speak to the importance of like the realization of how much that they added to the dynamic and how much they added to, you know, building up that situation.
I think Joe took it for granted.
And I believe that's why this caught so much backlash as it did, because everybody could say like, these were your guys, they helped build this with you, and then you're just gonna snake them like that.
The podcast would not be where it is now without Rory and Maul. It's been years. So, and then you have to remember, like, a lot of people don't like Joe Budden.
Yes.
So Rory and Maul was kind of like a buffer.
A buffer.
In a sense, they were kind of like a buffer. They were like, okay, Joe say something wild, or Joe say something that he may feel. Yeah. Because you know everybody struggles. He struggles with mental issues, just like most people do.
Sure.
They would be there to check him. No diss to Parks, but Parks is not gonna check Joe.
So okay, so that would lead to the saying out there that he is a yes man.
Yeah.
That's a yes man quality.
I think that would be why people say that. But Parks is non-problematic. He's like a guy who would rather everybody just make up rather than.
He's neutral.
Yeah, he's very neutral inside this. But in the same vein, him and Joe also have a special relationship. He's been mixing Joe's music for years.
Of course.
They've recorded the podcast inside his house for years.
Yeah, for how many 400 episodes?
Deeply invested inside that.
Yeah.
I found something. I thought something was pretty interesting when the response that Maul and Rory did. Yeah. When they were talking about the expenses and stuff, and Maul said Parks' name 3 times. He's like, expense goes Parks, and I found that very interesting. There's something behind that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about like if there was anything behind it, because right before, for him, the context of him saying that was, they were saying like when they got the Patreon deal, Rory and Maul came together and decided like, okay, money ain't all of that to us. It's not a really big thing. These other guys are like working hard.
Some of them complaining.
Let's just give our money. Let's slide our money that way to them. So that is interesting.
And not just to end it there. Rory said he wanted to do that for like I guess the first couple of months or so, and Joe called him and cursed him out. Allegedly, this is what Rory said. Rory said that Joe called him and cursed him out and was like, "You ungrateful with the F you doing," and he still sent a check there. So I don't even know if the guys actually got the money. He gave everybody a raise, but in giving them a raise, Rory and Maul still want to know what the percentage like. Yeah. Another point of contention was when they were having a conversation. I think Rory and Maul said inside their response, where Joe said when they were just throwing out numbers and names and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, if this person offers us this, we'd be good. And they were like, it's a number they agree on.
Yeah.
And then they were like, they called a different name, and it was like, Joe's like, if we get this deal, y'all wouldn't get the same percentage. And then Maul was like, what? And he's like, he took that into consideration with everything, and I think that's very important. It's just basically saying like, wait, if Tidal sign us for $1 million, just random, Tidal signs us for like $20 million.
Yeah,
y'all ain't getting the same amount if Spotify sign us.
Yeah, but you mean, hold on, you're saying that they. So you're saying that they wouldn't. Oh, okay. So you're saying.
That's selling them basically.
Yeah. So you're saying like Maul and Rory's check wouldn't increase.
Yeah, it would decrease actually. It may possibly decrease, depending on who's signing us. Basically, that's what they got. That's what they were saying.
That is terrible.
Like y'all would not get the same percentage.
That's terrible.
That's what Maul said.
You shouldn't. I mean, you shouldn't treat your friends like that. I understand, like, you really shouldn't be mixing friendship and business. But at the same time, like, everything we've just said, these dudes helped build it for you. They was your boys. They went touring with you and stuff.
Bro, Sleep Bay, y'all used to live together, dog.
I could understand, like, no, I can't understand. I could see, I could see if you, like, just kept it like their pay as it was because of like contract, but still like put them on the side, give them an envelope, be like, yeah, but here's a couple thousand because of this deal we got. Here's this because of this show we did. Here's the increase from that. But it wasn't that. So
I think Joe tried to explain remember when we was talking about how Maul said that when they sold out more seats than the last show, they'd get paid the same money.
Right.
I think Joe, he tried to, I don't remember what he said, but he explained it in some albums, like, it'd be like that or something like that. I don't know. I think that's kind of wild, though.
It'd be like that? Okay.
I'm not sure if that's what, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he explained it off, like, just brush past it, kind of.
Yeah.
He didn't really give us a breakdown. I mean, and it's none of our business. Because it's his business, but, like, if you, people are going to be asking these questions, man. Now people going to question all of his business dealings, aside from the other stuff that he's already deal with in the media, though. It's just not. And then Kevin and I talking on it now. Yeah.
I saw Kevin. He made his remark on the situation. I fully agree with what he said.
Yeah.
I mean, he said basically what we kind of been saying the whole time, like for the whole 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But I agree, and to see that coming from another what might have been a pair of Joe Budden.
Yeah.
A co-worker maybe in some instances.
Yeah.
That's powerful, as people would say.
Joe said he talked to him. He called him. So they talked apparently after that.
Yeah.
And he said that Kevin basically told him the same stuff, like, you failed as a leader. And he's like, yeah, I did. And so, like, Joe started to hire some people to come in and help manage and deal with stuff like that. And then, like, but you doing this after you lost Rory and Maul.
Let's talk about another situation that he kind of lost. Olivia Dope.
Yes.
She was one of the hosts on what was the name of it? See the Thing Is.
With Bridget Kelly and I can't remember that.
Yeah, with it's a full female cast.
Yes, so the three of them,
which is dope.
Yes,
yeah, there's one other network, another show on this network with a full female.
Karen Civil and another lady.
Yes, so that is dope though. Let's get back to Miss Dope, because when did she leave that show? It was a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
I think she left a while ago, actually.
Okay.
Because I remember the branding being 3, and then after, like, really quickly, it went to just them two.
Yeah.
And like, I noticed it, but it didn't. And I just people reported that she left. But I was like, I didn't listen to the podcast yet, so I didn't even know if there was like some drama or whatever. But I was like, I feel like it has something to do with Joe.
Well, it did have something to do with Joe.
Oh Lord.
Because she recently dropped like a 30-minute like like expose on pretty much Joe's advances on her in the workplace.
Literally 3 months.
Yeah, 3 months.
Yeah.
I said 3 weeks, but it was like 3 months.
Yeah.
You're right. And it was a lot of things said that were wild as hell, babe. It's a wild thing to say.
It was nasty.
It was nasty. You know, saying things like, you know, you just showing off like your singleness, and we could be a power couple on the power network couple.
Yeah.
And another thing, like, you know, I always wanted to smash you or something like that. And this is like things that he said like on live recording. It was just edited out.
Yeah, they had to edit it out.
But it was like live recording of him saying this in like a group of people in front of his production crew, in front of the other other co-hosts, and it's like, damn, B, like what's really good? What's really going on? Like what's this demon time mode that you in right now?
And then the whole hug and him grinding on her apparently in the hug in the video, and it's weird.
I just feel bad for people sometimes, especially for some women, because you have to deal with that, and that's embarrassing, right? Because like other people are there, babe.
It's an invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
Dudes doing it in the open. Not saying Joe Budden, but just generally speaking.
Yeah.
You're doing it in the open. They're doing it repeatedly. And like you should not no. So, you know, prayers go out to Olivia Dope. She said it took her a while to speak about it, you know, and I understand that completely.
Yeah.
You know, I have a lot of, you know, we know a lot of people who've been through traumatic instances, even worse than this.
Yeah.
That can't speak out or won't speak out because of the backlash they may receive, or people just labeling them a certain type of way.
Right.
When they've been subject to a certain type of behavior. So I think she's pretty brave for actually speaking out.
Mm-hmm.
The timing is interesting.
Timing
is interesting, but
I was thinking about
regardless, it's, you know what I mean.
Well, that's usually like how it goes. Like you have these controversies of individuals, and then when that starts, then you have like 2-3 other people come out like, oh yeah, he did this to me. But I think it has something to do with just trying to catch it while it's hot. Because now I don't know. This is this. Do you think this accusation from Miss Dope would have been as big as it was if she had done this not when this controversy with Rory and Maul was happening?
I feel like if they didn't break up, she wouldn't have spoken out yet. I think eventually she would have spoken out, but I think this probably gave her enough courage to speak out at this time, because she's like, all right, everybody's talking about
Joe.
How Joe is behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Let me speak out one time. And, you know, we still in the entrails of the cancel culture, so they're probably trying to get Joe out here, to be honest. I don't think it's gonna happen, but unless something else that's damning happens, I think it's gonna level out eventually. But that's wild. That should have never happened. He apologized for it. But yeah, but she whole left.
Hey, well, hopefully she moves on to something else. Mm-hmm. Someone that won't sexually harass her live on air.
Yeah.
I mean, live recording.
Apparently he called her a bitch or something, man.
Damn, man. You mean that's afterwards? Like
No. During the podcast.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I think one of them spoke out about it, like checked him on it or something. But he's wilding me.
Joe's a wild guy.
As you can tell.
As you can tell.
He's an angry man.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that Ak and Rory situation? You want to speak on that?
Yeah, we can talk about it for a little bit. I mean, DJ Academics, he, you know, he's I always think he's like a sensitive dude.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact origin point of this initial beef. I could only imagine it was like Rory remarked on something during their show that was pertaining to Ak, and he caught feelings.
Yeah.
And he's taking it farther and farther. I mean, him and Rory always had this beef. And then when this whole breakup happened,
somehow Maul got involved inside it though. I don't know what Maul do to for like an academics.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess Maul was just caught up on. He was just collateral because the beef between Rory and Ak broke down to like Ak being like, okay, Joe's your boss. Like he could tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And then Maul probably got swept up in it too because I guess Maul's in more or less the same position as Rory.
True.
But I don't remember him ever saying like I don't watch the show like you do, but I don't ever remember a point like a clip seeing like Maul being like, oh yeah, but Ak, that nigga, he's a lame. But
yeah, they don't talk on that. Every time like Joe would possibly bring up Ak, they'd be like, let's not talk about it, and they'd do a little joke or something, then like not talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, but Ak always been the sensitive dude, especially when he get on the Henny. Then the Henny Demics. Then then he's liable to go off on anybody and just like stream it on Twitch.
Yeah.
But I guess what really hit a nerve for him was when I guess Rory like sent someone or Rory like put like a letter in his inbox. What did the letter even say?
Okay, so apparently. So I have another thing to say on that too. Mm-hmm. Apparently there's a female involved.
Okay.
Apparently it's a girl that Ak used to deal with. This is what I've heard allegedly. That Ak used to deal with. That also Rory used to deal with. And Ak was telling, because I was watching a couple of them clips of Ak off the Henny Demics.
Yeah.
And he was saying, I talked to her. You got your wifey tripping. This is a side girl. Why you tripping? You was crying and whatnot. Like being cryptic and whatnot. So I think there's a female. I think a female has something to do with it.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I think that may come out eventually, but I think a female has to do with it. Meanwhile, Rory allegedly, but Rory has a fiance. But Ak was like, Rory let his Guyanese fiance hype him up. And he's like, Rory got Guyanese goons ready to come to Ak house. That's so funny, man.
Guyanese goons, right?
Guyanese goons. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? But apparently a letter was dropped off. Apparently Ak said that Rory tweeted his address, I think like a couple days or like a week or so after the letter was placed inside Academic's mailbox.
Oh really?
Yes.
So he doxed him.
Literally, yeah.
Okay.
This is what Ak said.
Alright.
And Ak said that, he showed the card and it said something about being a boss. And it was like a B. It's like a playful thing. And it's like bosses, let's link up or something like that. And
the smiley face.
Yeah, the smiley face.
I remember that.
B.
Yeah.
It was like something about like saying you was a little boss or like trying to something weird.
Okay.
But at the bottom he signed, he put a smiley face and said, "Love the Stooge," because he's called him
the Stooges. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, Ak was like, I gotta go get a gun now.
Okay, if I can't really blame him too much for getting the gun. If that dude like dropped your address, that means any weirdo kind of could pull up, and you need some means of self defense.
That's understandable.
That's understandable. But their whole beef, I always thought seemed silly.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and apparently Joe asked Rory if he did, and Rory said no or something like that, and then apparently he's like, yeah, he did do it or something like that. It's something weird, and then Joe was like, but your mind is not in the game. You're jeopardizing the podcast if Ak decides to like sue or something happens to Ak. Like he's like that could be on you and whatnot. And I'm like,
I see.
It's pretty. It's weird and it's deep. But I still don't understand why Ak just have an issue with Maul. I guess we gotta dig deeper. If y'all know, y'all let us know.
We gotta explore that little issue.
Flipping Joe Dread.
That's sick. That's been episode 24.
It has.
Thanks for tuning in as usual. Check the links in the description. It's been your boy Francois.
It's your boy Saint Dior.
All right.
Peace.